The Brahmin Gondanya was very pleased to hear the news that Prince Siddhartha had gone forth, and hurried to seek out the sons of each of the 7 other Brahmins with whom he had divined the identity of the Bodhisattva according to his physical characteristics when he was just born. He managed to gather and persuade only 4 of these sons, and then together the 5 Brahmins left the household life and set off in search of the great renunciant. The 5 Brahmins now gone forth were Gondanya, Vapa, Badiya, Mahanama, and Asaji. This group of 5 together were known as the Pankavaggiya. The Pankavaggiya followed after the Bodhisattva through various places until they found him practicing ardently in the place where he had settled. They settled there with him, attending to his needs, with the hope that when he attained enlightenment, he would teach the Dhamma to them. The renunciant prince was intent on seeking the path to enlightenment, so he took up 3 of the extreme ascetic practices that were favored by the practitioners of those days. For the first period he pressed his teeth against his teeth and his tongue against his palate, so firmly that sweat ran from his whole body. The pain was as severe as if someone were gripping his throat tightly, strangling him. When he saw that this was not the way to enlightenment, he gave up on the practice and changed to another method. Breaths, stifling them until both his ears rung loudly, his head ached, and his stomach racked with pain, his body as if on fire. But no matter how great the distress, he did not give up his efforts until he saw that this was not the way to enlightenment. Seeing this, he gave up the practice and changed to another method. For the 3rd period, he fasted until he was emaciated, wrinkled, his complexion discolored, his bones and sinews extruding. Exhausted of energy and suffering greatly, rubbing his hand over his body, the hairs stuck to his palm.
I've carried out the extreme ascetic practices, pushing the body to limits which no other could exceed. Why have I not yet attained enlightenment? Or perhaps this path is not the way to liberation.
The Bodhisattva is worrying and wondering about the path to realization. What's the best way to help him? Aha! This is the way.
One string of that lute is too tight. A little pluck and it snaps. One string is too loose. When plucked, the sound is barely heard. One string is just right, not too loose, not too tight. When plucked, the sound resonates far and wide, sweetly. Oh, it is the practice of the middle way that leads to enlightened knowledge. But the current state of my body surely can't support efforts in developing the mind along the middle path of practice.
Prince Siddhartha, whom we had held in esteem as a bodhisattva, bound for success, even after practicing strictly for 6 years, using all his effort, is still unable to achieve enlightenment. Now he's relaxed his efforts. And eating proper food again. How will he ever succeed?
Quite so. Venerable Kondanya, you're the most senior amongst us. What do you think we should do?
Under the circumstances, there can be no use in attending to him any longer. The time has come for us to take our leave. On the night of the 14th waxing moon of the 6th lunar month, as dawn was approaching, and the Bodhisattva close to waking, 5 auspicious signs appeared in his dreams. Which he interpreted as follows. 1. He would achieve enlightenment as the Buddha. 2. He would declare the true Dhamma for the benefit of all humans and deities. 3. A great number of people would come to train under him, thus establishing the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. 4. People of all castes and classes, after training under him, would come to understand the same pure Dhamma. 5. People from all over the world would bring offerings to him to express their faith and trust, but his heart would remain unstained by even the slightest attachment to such wealth. In the village of Uruvela Senanigama, there lived a wealthy man's daughter named Suchata. When she was young, she made a vow to the deity abiding in a banyan tree close by, so that she might have a husband of equal wealth and birth, and that her first child might be a son. Once her wishes had been fulfilled, she prepared a rice dish, prepared with cow's milk and honey, as an offering to honor the tree deity.
Madam Suchada! Madam Suchada!
What's the matter, Puna? Why are you rushing in such an excited way?
It seems that the tree god has come to receive your offering. I saw him at the banyan tree over there with my own eyes. He's glowing with a beautiful halo all around him.
Everyone, quickly help! Puna, go and fetch a golden tray for the honeyed milk rice. We'll take it out to offer to the tree god. Quickly, go, go! All of my wishes have been so graciously granted. Please, may I offer this meal of honeyed milk rice and this golden tray to you?
I offer this prayer. If I am to succeed in realizing perfectly enlightened knowledge, may this golden tray float up the river against the current. But if I am not to achieve my goal, may this tray float downstream with the current.
In no long time, 3 Buddhas have become enlightened here, and now one more is about to attain to the Dhamma.
I'm a Brahmin called Sotiya, sir. I'm inspired with great faith at the sight of you. Please let me show my respect. May I offer you 8 handfuls of blade grass?
For as long as I have not yet attained to supreme enlightened knowledge, even if my blood and flesh should dry up with only skin, bone, and sinews remaining, I shall not rise from this seat.
I've been following Prince Siddhartha's every step, so as to stop him from achieving enlightenment. If I let him go ahead with this, he'll slip out of my grasp for sure. I must cut him off now. I must destroy him. Ha 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 ha. The power of the Bodhisattva's spiritual qualities and goodness, accumulated over countless lifetimes, protected him as though in invisible armor, his heart steady and peaceful, unshaken by fear. you can escape from Vasavati Mara's control? Huh? My powerful weapons cannot harm the prince. I must make use of a ruse to deceive him. Prince Siddhartha, the seat you sit on came to be because of my own spiritual powers. My troops are my witnesses. You must get up at once.
Pay attention, King of Deceivers. This seat comes to me as the fruit of my good actions, accumulated through all of my efforts in the past.
Then who will bear witness to your ownership of this seat?
I will bear witness.
Dharani, goddess of the earth!
All the merit made by his good actions in the past, even the water which he has poured on the ground in dedication of merit, soaked up by my hair and kept close to my head, is sufficient to bear witness to his virtues.
After his victory over Mara and his host of deceivers, the Bodhisattva's mind was firm, focused, and concentrated. At dusk, the Bodhisattva began to develop meditative insight, attaining to the first knowledge, Pubenivasa Nusatinyana, the ability to recollect his past lives. In the silence of the late night, he attained the second knowledge, Kutu Papa Tanyana, knowledge of the passing away and rebirth of beings according to the results of their actions. Close to dawn, the Bodhisattva attained to the third knowledge, Asavakayanana, knowledge of the destruction of mental defilements, complete liberation and freedom from suffering. He thus came to be the fully self-awakened Buddha.
Craving, with you I've been born again and again, but now you are revealed, and your power redundant.
After the Bodhisattva had attained to the Dhamma and become the Buddha, he sat under the Maha Bodhi tree, enjoying the bliss of freedom for 7 days. Then he went and stood in the open, gazing back at the Maha Bodhi tree and recollecting its virtues. He stood there and gazed, without blinking, for 7 days. After that, the new Buddha walked back and forth between the Mahabodhi tree and the place where he had stood for another 7 days. Having walked meditation for 7 days, for the 4th week he sat meditation in a crystal shelter prepared for him by heavenly beings. He sat and contemplated the most profound Dhamma for 7 days.